Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. It's your sassy hype queen, favorite branding queen, Heather Gouger. This is the second episode of Unmuted and Unbothered. The mic is mine. You guys, we are done playing small and we are unmuting our mics and we are stepping into our magic. And I am so excited for today's episode. I have my beautiful soul sister, Sarah, also known as S.A. Reinhart, with me today. And we are going to talk about this episode is all about main character energy. Bro marketers said, do this and niche down, and we said watch this. And so today we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about that main character energy and how you really show up in it in an aligned and magical way. So if you ever feel like you've been told you were too loud, you were supposed to do it this way, or you were supposed to do it that way, you were supposed to niche down and do it in this division, or do it in that sector, or do it in this topic, or do it under this envelope, this episode is for you. So give me just a moment and we will be bringing the gorgeous, beautiful Sarah Perez and my beautiful soul sister to the screen. So Sarah, hopefully you got the invite this time and it's working. We're having some tech issues today. So hopefully we're gonna get her up here with us. And Melissa, welcome. How are you, darling? Thank you for tuning in with us. Give us just a moment. We're having some tech issues. Where Sarah is not being able to get on the video, but I'm so excited for today. I don't know about you, but I have never sat into niche energy very well. The market says that niche is everything and the answer and the way. But I don't know about you, but niching for me always felt like being put in a box, like a box that was too big. Like I never felt like I just fit in one category. Or, hi, beautiful. I'm just trying to get Sarah on here. It is being rather it's being rather interesting trying to get her on the video. It's the Zoom, or not Zoom, but Facebook is being tricky. So we're trying to get her in here, hopefully. Hi, Sarah. Maybe I can click this way, and it didn't give me the option. This happened to me and Michelle too when we tried to do this in our we were doing Fierce Fire Friday. We were having the same issue. So I'm so sorry, you guys. Sarah, and I'm sorry that this is happening. That we're having so much problems with this right now. Right? Girl, for real. We know all about that life. And this is the second take and it's still not working. So we may have to reschedule this if I can't get it to work. Marie, it worked fine for Marie when we did it with her last week. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. So sorry. You're new to the Facebook share screen vibe. Sarah, are you on your phone or are you on your computer? Let me ask that question. Hopefully on your phone, because that might be the issue. If you're not on your phone, I need to launch from my computer so that we're on the same device. Otherwise, it's not compatible. I should have asked you that before we launched. You know, we're messy. We're unmuted. We're real. We're raw here. We're real people, right? Okay, that's probably why, love. Okay, give us just a second. We're gonna relaunch in just a few minutes. Hopefully we can get this figured out because oh, Sarah says hold on. Okay, I will hold on. Holding. Michelle, how's your day going, beautiful? Melissa, how are you, love? So glad you guys are here to hang out with me and Sarah on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Gotta love technology and all of it. There she is. There it is. Okay. Let's see. Approve. Did we get it?
Yeah.
Yes. Gotta love technology, right? And all of its little quirks and quirks. Michelle says, I'm so looking forward to your interview. Well, we've been looking forward to this. We've been talking behind the scenes about this for, well, over a year now, right?
It's been a long time.
Like a long time of like, I don't know about anybody else, but Sarah and I are a little rebellish and we don't like rules. And we like to break them. And we've been breaking all of the industry rules for the last year with a lot of results inside of breaking those rules. But before we get into that, Sarah, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody so that if they don't know you like I do, they can get to know you.
Well, that's going to take a long time, Heather. No. Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah. I write as the author S.A. Reinhart, and I told myself that I was never a writer until I popped out 3 books, and I just published my second one. The reason why is because I had a lot of shame around it. So I am here to get you out of your head and into your heart and help you discover your own true story, right? And be all the characters, not just who they tell you you can be.
Yeah, that beautiful. As we step into this main character energy, as pop culture calls it, I call it that girl vibe, to go from that girl that was following all the rules and being shrunk and being small and being silenced. We were just talking about in our sisterhood circle last weekend how when we were kids, it started when we were kids. The silencing started when we were just little babies in elementary school, being told we were too loud or we were talking too much or we weren't paying attention or we weren't doing this right or we weren't doing that right and we were punished for it. The realization of we were muted when we were little.
Yeah.
It started there. And that was the root of it. So if anybody knows about main character energy, it is Sarah, because she writes about all these amazing characters in her book, and we her closest friends have fallen in love with those characters because we've been a part of the ideation process on the back end and just hearing all the fun. But Sarah, talk to them a little bit about what main character energy is, really, not what
that's a really big thing to answer, right? It's like, well, what's main character energy? And you've heard of niche in the coaching industry, and it's like, oh, well, what's that one thing that you're good at, and go for that, and then talk to the pain points and do all the bro marketing stuff, right? Well, main character energy is something that we step into, not something that we force with worksheets and profiles and all the things, right? If you read a book, there is a main character, sometimes 2. I have several because I can't get my mind, but no, there is one female main character in my book series. And so basically you follow that character because they're the protagonist, right? So they're the person that it's like, okay, here's where they are, here's their problem point, here's where they crash, and then look at the hero's journey. So it's not like really a circle, it's more like a spiral, because they're still going to come up against problems that have come up before. It's the same thing in real life. If you're the main character of your own life, you're going to pay attention to your ups and your downs and your lessons and what you're manifesting, right? Because we're always manifesting. I love it when people are like, oh, I want to manifest this and I'm not a good manifester. That's not actually true. You're manifesting all the time, but your subconscious wins that battle. So as much as you meditate and as much as you can write out your story, your own life story, you're still going to have to go back to fixing, or not fixing because nobody's broken,
Right.
going back to that little girl inside that was told she's too much,
Yeah.
or you talk much, or you're too loud, or you're too crazy, or you're too weird, right? I was always told the weird, yo, you're
I
too
was
weird.
told you talk too much, you're too loud, you're too rambunctious, you need to sit still, you need to be quiet.
Yeah, exactly. And what happens is we make other people the main characters in our lives rather than focusing on us.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big issue in our society because we've been taught to step back and mute our magic, right? Yeah. And then we make somebody else the main character, whether it be our husbands, partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, you know, whatever it is.
Right.
Moms, if you got kids, they're like the main characters in your life.
Yeah.
They're actually supporting characters, and you're the main character because you have to take care of yourself because you cannot give from an empty cup.
That's right.
Right.
You can't. And you can't serve from a box. And I talked about this last week with Marie.
Mm-hmm.
You can't serve from a box of expectation that was never meant for you. It was not, we were not meant to be niched down, categorized, or labeled. That is the biggest mistake. Like, Sarah and I were struggling through this, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this a little bit. Sarah was working through some branding stuff in an approach to an application she was filling out to be a guest in a Facebook group, and it didn't feel right. Sarah felt boxed into an expectation that didn't fit her, and I said, but does it have to be this hard? Do you have to live up to this expectation? Or is it that perpetual belief that we have to fit into some kind of category, niche, process, system that was designed? It was designed for entrepreneurs, but was it designed with you in mind? Not really. And was it designed for your design? Sarah has taught me so much about human design over the last year and some change, and how to step into your aligned self by design, not just by standards or systems. It's breaking the rules of the system that actually has perpetuated the success that Sarah and I have had in our own journeys over the last year and some change, because we started breaking out of these expectations that bro marketer Brett said you had to niche into a category to be successful. Well, I call bullshit. And I want to rip that label off that says you have to niche down and you have to talk to one person. I absolutely call bullshit, because I haven't been talking to one person. I've been talking to several people, and I'm calling in just as well as anybody else out there who's niched down into one category.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's important to note that you are a manifesting generator. So if you guys listening to us do not know your design, it's, again, I talk to a lot of intuitives, and they're like, well, I don't like human design because it puts me in a box. And I'm like, dude, if there's anybody who doesn't like boxes, it's me, right? So it's like you're speaking to the choir. But so one thing about manifesting generators in general, especially that I feel like over the past year you've totally embraced, Heather, is that you don't have to do it one way. As long as you are aligned and you feel lit up, you go, right?
Yeah. And I think that's important energy to sit into. That is main character energy. When you decide to show up for you, as you, as you are designed, not as a system, process, steps, procedures, a market says. Like, we've had so much magical breakthrough through breaking outside of these norms and saying, you know what? No, what if? What if I did it this way? What if I showed up in flow? What if I showed up in alignment? And we started to take command as our main character in our story and said, you know what? I don't want to be a subject to this rhetoric in the industry. I want to rewrite it. I want to rip off a label. Why do we have to label everything? Why do we have to box it up in some cute little presentation box and hand it out? Why can't it be real, raw, messy, and uncut, but aligned for those who actually need you?
Yeah, and that's important to note because there are so many people and so many things that we do on a daily basis
Yeah.
that get us out of that empowerment or that main character energy, right? Like it's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, I've got this for my boss and I've got to do this for my business and I've got to do this for my kids and this for my partner and this, so like
Yeah.
there are so many things that stretch that energy out. And okay, so if you go back into the box of being a manifesting generator, you're not just a manifesting generator.
Right.
You are a manifesting generator with a different incarnation cross, with a different profile. So like I saw Michelle saying Manny Jen in the house. Whoop, whoop. I love my Manny Jens. My daughter's a Manny Jen. My dad's a Manny Jen. All the things, right? But so your essence, even though we're labeling it manifesting generator, is different than Michelle's essence, not only because your charts are going to look different. And this is the synthesis that I do with people. Like I look at it and I synthesize different energies that are in there. And then I start asking empowering questions. So instead of saying, well, this is a reading, right? Most human design people do a reading. I do consultations because I want you to feel empowered to use your design as a springboard for what you want based on your conditioning, your traumas, how to get past all that. There's so much in life. Your life is completely different, even though there's some parallels to other manifesting generators.
Yep.
That there is no box. You're navigating your own like ocean of stuff.
Yeah.
And you ride the wave or you get to drown. It's up to you.
Yeah.
You know?
It is up to you. Hi, Kayla. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. And I think that, Michelle made a good point. She's like, I'm dying to know there's a story inside of me that the world needs to hear. Sarah, can you talk a little bit about writing to those characters in your story? Because I think that is an important part of unmuting your mic is unmuting your message. Unmuting your mic is sharing your truth. It's stepping into that story, but it doesn't have to be a certain way. It doesn't have to be a process. It's really the beauty of your story coming out through the pages, right? And I'm sure you can explain this better than I can as an author.
Yeah. So it's funny because I have had several questions from my readers saying, oh, are you the main character? Are you Sabrina? And I'm like, well, I'm Sabrina. I'm Richard. I'm Pam. I'm Brian. I'm all the characters, right? Because there's a piece of me that can resonate with all of them. And it's funny because my readers resonate with different characters in different ways too. And they're like, oh, is Richard your husband? And I'm like, well, he's got characteristics of my husband. So
Right.
the mini stories within the story or the backstories within the story
Yeah.
are really important to note because they are pieces. And so for a while, when I tell people, like I've talked to people about writing their memoirs and things like that, because people are like, I just have a story inside of me that I need to tell. So the box thing, I don't want to put anybody in a box. You do whatever you want to do. If this resonates with you, awesome. If not, throw it out the door. I don't care. So what happens is we get into that framework. There are some people that write by an outline, and there's some people like me, we're called pantsers, which is funny, like, because we fly by the seat of our pants and just write.
Okay.
I channel, so I have to be a pantser. I tried to do it the outline way, and it just wasn't working. In school, they teach you the outline way, right? And so if you feel most comfortable with an outline when you're writing your memoirs or writing your story, or maybe you want to do fiction, it doesn't matter what you're writing. It just matters that you start somewhere. And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be polished. You don't even have to get out of bed. literally, I wrote most of the second book in my car, waiting for my son to get in there from his school. And I was writing it from my phone. Now my thumbs are really strong because of that. Just kidding. But it is. Most of my second book was written from my phone, or second or third. I can't remember. But anyway, most of it was written on my phone because I just needed to start somewhere. Is it easier to do it on a computer and sit down and have silence? Yes. But you know what? This is real life. Yeah. And it's like, and this is a passion. So if you have a passion, don't let anything stop you to get what you want from that passion.
Yeah. And I think that it's not about doing it the right way. It's about doing it the aligned soul aligned way for you. And I want you guys to really answer, or like ask yourself that question when you're showing up, when you're doing things. I did it with Sarah. I asked her, I'm like, is this soul aligned for you? Or are you just trying to put yourself in a box you don't belong in? We were talking about this around the idea of a free lead magnet. And, you know, the industry says you have to have a lead magnet that is free, and we have to give away all this free value all the time, and there's no worth. And it's because that's the rules, that's the rhetoric, that's the entrepreneur theology, if you'd like to, you know, throw it out, the methodologies. But what if it's not about one way, and everybody's preaching that their way is the way, but it's one way, and it may not be aligned for you, and that's okay. And it is okay to check your heart and listen to your soul, listen to your design, listen to your spirit speak and say, you know what? This isn't aligned for me. This isn't going to work for me. And the thing of it is would you rather suffer through something and put yourself through hell over and over again, trying to fit into a place or a system or a process or a program or whatever it is that's holding you back from really being you? Is that really fair to you to show up in that energy and put yourself through that? Sarah really struggled for like a better part of 2 months to apply, and we finally said, this is just not, like, girl, you know, this is not a line for you.
Yeah, I was putting myself in that spot because they tell you that, oh, well, you have to do all this. And, oh, what do you resonate with most? Oh, you like networking? Okay, go to all the networking. It's like, yeah, but BNI is not really my vibe. Like, seriously, I don't like to get up there and do the 1-minute pitch. I'm a talker. I can't, my value is held in deep conversation. So my freebie is the talk. My freebie is the, you know, voice connection, because I think what happens with these PDFs, for me anyway, with these PDFs, is they fall flat, and people keep inboxes and they don't read them, they don't contact me, and I'm just like, well, this doesn't feel right.
Work and time that I put into it goes wasted, and the magic that was there when I created it didn't translate to the audience the way that it would have if I just spoke it in person. If I just showed up and had a masterclass, or just showed up and had a call. And, you know, like for me, you know how that is. Like, my magic doesn't come through my posts. Like, sure, they're encouraging and great and motivating and inspiring, and they might get you to question and think things, but it's until you get behind the scenes with me and do the brainstorm, that your main character energy is unlocked and your mic is absolutely unmuted. Because I remember when you sat down with me to do your brainstorm. You remember that, right? Like,
so it was so fun. It's like a little micro explosion went off of my head. And Heather's like, well, you know, your ideal client is the main character in your books. I'm like, oh, what? Like, and we went through iterations of colors and vibes and all the things. And it's like, okay. And then I tell her, like, a couple months later, and this was hilarious, I told you, well, I don't really like pink. And she's like, well, what the heck you have pink for? I was like,
why is pink all over your brand?
I had a lot of pink in my brand, and Heather helped me tweak that, because I don't like pink. Although like that hot magenta pink, I do like as accents. So
Yeah.
we
It's like the shadow.
into darker
Yeah.
colors. Yeah.
It's the shadow is on top of the darker colors, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you were sitting into an energy in your design that really at the end of the day, because your energy attached to it, and I was talking to someone about this yesterday, another soulful entrepreneur, that the energy we put into our content creation, it attaches itself to the content that you put out there. So if you're creating from a space that's unaligned for you, energetically, spiritually, soully, like human designly, like if you're creating from that space, it's no wonder you're hearing crickets, right? It's no wonder you're not unlocking that main character, center of the stage, like let's slay, like your queen energy, you know, your sassitude, as I like to say, you're that girl. You can't harness her until you're aligned to her and you understand who she is and how she shows up. And one of the beautiful things is with human design and understanding your human design is that you understand how to show up for you. You understand how to advocate for you because of the way you think, move, breathe, act. Human design unlocks all of that understanding of self so that you know how to move and flow in all of what you do.
Yeah. And it's super important to note that when you first find out what your design is, there's a lot of denial in that. Like,
right?
No way, I'm this. So I'm a projector, but I'm not just a projector. I'm a no energy projector. I have a lot of open centers, and my genius is actually called out from other people calling me out, which is why I love Heather, because she calls me out all the time. But I don't mind being called, right? That's the thing. I don't mind being called out. I mean, you know, I got my big girl panties. I know what I'm doing. Like, you can call me out. It's all good. And we talked about that with this morning on our wonderful chat with touching the butt from Finding Nemo.
Look at me. I'm gonna touch the butt.
I'm gonna touch the butt, because you don't want to go down that rabbit hole that can potentially trigger all of your traumas, right? You have to have a good nervous system regulation tool or tools in place. And so it's not just about, oh, well, this is my design, whatever, right? Because there's a lot to learn about human design. It's a huge thing. But I do it a little differently. And Heather calls me a human design genius, which I think is cute. Because I'm like, oh, that's like this. Oh, you know what the shadow of that? Do you know what the gift side of that is? Like, I'm all excited and stuff. And it's interesting because most of the consultations that I've done and most of the people that I talk to about their designs, it's like, oh my God, like, you see me, I feel so seen. And I think we miss that piece of it when we're in the bro marketing cycle and the industry, how they're like, oh, we've got to do this, this, and this. And a lot of people will reframe them nowadays. I've learned that a lot of people are reframing that as framework, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay. Framework's okay. And granted, there is, I like the term bumpers, right?
Yeah.
So for me, and because of my design, I do have a lot of like routine energy in my design. It grounds me.
Right.
So yeah, my routine, but I can bounce in between my bumpers everywhere. And that's what makes me happy. Right. The one thing I have to note when we are looking at our human design is, what is our strategy and authority? Because every type has its own strategy. That's a given. But then there are a lot of different authorities. There's like 7 different authorities. Now, the authority is what I call your magic decision-making tool, right?
Right.
So yours is sacral. So I'm always telling Heather, guys, I'm always telling Heather, what does your gut say? What does your gut say? I'm like, does this feel good? Does this light up your gut? Is it a or a or a you know, because your gut doesn't really say words. And as coaches always want to have like the long, oh, well, I feel this and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, which is great. But that also comes from the brain and the mind and what you've learned in your skills and your training. It does not come from the big decisions that need to come from your body. And so if you're a generator, manifesting generator, and you have a sacral authority, you've got to listen to the pull forwards or the backs. And I do this all the time.
Right there. That pull back. We
Yeah.
don't often listen to that in our gut about something. Like that energy that's like within the body, in the spirit, in the sacral, in the, you know, in just in your being. You don't listen. We don't listen enough because the system.
Yes.
The system that but the system. But what if we didn't just go and still do it, and we did something different? Like Sarah taught me through understanding design, and I call her the human design like guru expert, because Sarah breaks down human design in simple layman's terms that everyday people can understand. Because I tried to search human design on my own, just like throw this out there, and I was like, what in the absolute, what am I, like, what in the Greek language of this is Greek to me is this? Like, and how does Sarah, like, look at this Greek and make it layman's terms? Because that's what she does, and she makes it everyday understandable and applicable, and reminding you to step into your design and step into your alignment and your real, like, your truth for you. Not their truth for you, not their rules for you, but your truth and your rules and your way. And I know that that sounds self-centered, and I know that some people might call that conceited, but there's a beauty in it. There's a beauty in that selfishness to care for you, to show up for you. I was just having this conversation with my grandfather this morning. He's retired, and yet he acts like he's running a 9-to-5 schedule. And I said, Grandpa, you don't have to run around like a crazy person, like every morning. Let me grab your Meals on Wheels. You ease out of bed, have your coffee, play your game. If you want to sleep until 11, you sleep until 11. You want to ignore that phone call? You ignore that phone call. You don't answer to anybody but you, and you don't serve anybody but you. And there's a power in that selfishness and that energy of showing up and choosing you over choosing a system, a process, a rule, a theology, something that wasn't designed for you. And there is that gut check there for a reason. There's a reason you get that gut punch in your soul that says, this isn't right for me. Like poor Sarah was like struggling so hard, as so many of my clients do, to fit into a lane that was never designed for her. Yeah. And so we're raising rebels. We're encouraging you to unmute your truth in your mic, in your way. If that framework's not working that they say is supposed to work for you, there's a reason it doesn't work for you. It wasn't designed for you. It wasn't made for you. It wasn't created for you. And you could follow it to a T. Let me put it this way. I followed the Beachbody Bible to a T. I lost 100 pounds in a year. You would have thought I would have been a soaring influencer with all of these followers. I mean, 100 pounds in a year, right? Like, that's a huge accomplishment, and it was. And I showcased every piece and part of that journey. And yet, I didn't get a single sale. I didn't get a single client in that journey. And it's because I wasn't aligned with the bro marketing, hey girl, hey messaging. That's the piece I didn't do. And I wouldn't do because it never felt right to do. But I still shared and showed up in every other way except for that one way, right? And some people will be like, well, that's why you failed. Well, I don't even think I failed. I think that that journey taught me a ton about myself and taught me the power of personal development. But it wasn't made for me. it wasn't designed for me. It was part of my journey and it's part of what shaped me. But it was also me living again to what other people said was right for me and how I should show up and what I should say and what I should do and what system works. And I was just like, no, it doesn't work for me. It's not for me. It feels gross. The energy in it feels gross. I don't want to spam my friends and family.
Yeah, I don't like her.
I can't stand those messages. I cannot with that energy.
Yeah.
Like I love my MLM kings and queens, like love you to pieces. But the bro marketer, hey girl, hey messaging, please throw it away. Because we don't want it. People are blocking you. They're putting you on red. They're like, get away from me with this peaking interest type concept of no. Like that's not how I want to get to know you. I don't want you to DM me 10 minutes after getting to say hi in my DM and then pitch something to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to buy. Ever. Just FYI. I know Sarah feels the same way. We've had several
had so many conversations
about
this, right? It's like, ooh, the bro marketing part. Yeah. It's like, hey, how's it going? I have this thing. You know, I don't care if you have a free thing, a paid thing, whatever. You know, you gotta kiss me before you take me to bed. I'm just saying. You know, as a romance novelist, I can say that. But yeah, I mean, and it's, you know, oh my God, that brings up something so funny. Speaking of like main character energy and like the whole. So in my book, spoiler alert, in Mystical Love, the first book, it takes until chapter 8 until they start getting a little physical, right? And people are like, wow, it takes so long, like normal, like romance novels, a couple of chapters and you're there. And I'm like, no, because here's the deal. That's not how real humans work.
Right.
You know, it's like, you gotta warm them up to chapter 8 and then you can get into the spicy stuff. You have to build anticipation and character. You have to build character. You have to familiarize people with the character. And the same thing with, you know, all these bro marketers are like, hey girl, hey. It's like, delete, block, whatever, you know. But then I get somebody like Heather in my DMs like, oh my God, we have so much in common. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like that too. And then we talk faster and faster and faster. And it's like, you know, so, and that was like the real connection, right? And to have that with your clients is priceless. These are the clients that are going to be your ride or dies, your referrals. They're going to refer people. They're going to, whatever you have to offer, they're usually going to jump in, right? They'll be with you for years. They might not have consume every little tiny thing that you have available, but they're going to know you. They're going to trust you. They're going to like you. They're going to refer you to friends and family. When you network with people, they can feel your genuine, authentic vibe, because a lot of times it's really hard to feel an authentic vibe from somebody who's been covering it up for years.
That part they're not right there. It's not part, right? Like I remember when we started our sisterhood and some of the relationship dynamics in our sisterhood, it took peeling back layers in our sisterhood and getting to know each other and warming up to each other and trusting each other. There was a level of, I've been hurt in friendships and I've been silenced in this hurt, and I like you guys, and I want to trust you guys, and I want to hang out with you guys, and I want to feel included, but I'm scared. I'm scared I'm going to get hurt. I'm scared I'm going to get abandoned or neglected again. Like that energy of vulnerability that the main character goes through in the story. Like for me, it was living in the box of expectation under the lenses. I mean, I built whole brands for myself out of other people's expectations of me and how I should show up and what I should say and how I should do it. And this is going to get me to the next level. And this is how you do it. And this is the way and the right way. And you're doing it the wrong way. And you can't show up with loud colors and you can't talk like that. And, you know, but every day, my brand is breaking those barriers. Every day, my name as a sassy branding hype queen who is unapologetic in the way that she shows up is getting out there. And so it's not about the truth that everybody else has for you. It's about silencing the noise of the bro marketer and all of its tactics, all of its messages, all of its methodologies and frameworks. And I'm not saying throw it all out the window, right? I'm saying throw what's not aligned for you out the window and do it unapologetically and walk away from it, because you deserve to do what's right for you, aligned for you, and made for you by design, by spirit, by leading, and be a soul-centered entrepreneur. Be a purpose-driven entrepreneur. Don't be the bro marketer girl or a guy who's getting in, because I'm sorry, you're not one of my hype queens or hype kings if you're doing that. You're not showing up in main character energy. You're not showing up in that girl energy. You're not showing up in that girl energy. You're showing up in that girl energy. And you feel gross. You feel afraid. There is a fear outside of this comfort zone. And what are they going to say? What are they going to think of me?
Yeah.
Are they going to persecute me? Am I going to get crucified? Those are real feelings and emotions. And they are not, I'm not going to lie and say it's easy. Because there are moments I push a lie button and I'm scared crapless. Because a lot of people still look at me as that girl. Not that girl who is becoming an industry leader. Not that girl who's putting her voice out there on stages, in magazines, and writing a book. Not that girl. They don't know that girl. They know that girl.
Yeah. And it's a really important distinction too. That girl with the snaps. I can't snap. Okay, there we go. I got these.
You got it.
With that girl energy, you are allowing your main character to shine through. The main character that divine spirit has given you, that shows through you, whereas that girl energy is like that supporting character that nobody remembers from the book.
Yeah. And don't be that girl that is a chameleon. Because chameleon energy, where you're trying to steal from other people and show up as someone you're not, that is not that girl energy, okay? That is not main character energy.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's pathetic.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be rude by saying that, but it's you not trusting who you are. It's you not trusting the voice that lives within and the truth. I've had so many people rob my ideas, all because they were further along than me and they had more than me. And they thought they could do it better than me. But here's the thing, the theologies that live in your head, your own methodologies, your own theologies, your own proprietary methods, they can only be given by you. They were only designed for you to be the main character. I'm telling you, I love Sarah's characters. I could have never wrote Sarah's book. I wouldn't even try to write Sarah's book, okay? I'm trying to help Sarah design her characters, and that's hard enough. as her graphic designer, as a branding designer, that's hard enough. I can't imagine trying to copycat something that someone else did and call it my own.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that either, because for me, it doesn't feel right. You know, coming from the corporate world and having to sign non-disclosure agreements and non-competitive agreements and things like that, you know, especially as a designer in the corporate world, right? I was really cautious. I've always been really cautious about stealing other people's crap. And I noticed that I'm inspired by other people, Open Head Center, Open Ajna, right?
Yeah.
Human design. I'm inspired by other people, but at the same time, I have my own twist on what I really want to say about it, because sometimes I agree and sometimes I really don't agree. And so then I don't get into the weird, like, you know, oh, I can't believe she said that. I'm just like, you know, I heard this the other day and blah, blah, blah. And by the way, if you're a projector like I am, if you feel this way too, that's the way you're designed. Like, you're designed to take and look at things,
Right.
and be like, oh, what do I think about this? Because we are the guides of the universe, right? There's more and more of us cropping up, and it's amazing. They say we're 20% of the population, but it's like probably 80% of the people I know are projectors. I attract projectors, but that's the whole thing. It's like, you see, like I posted something about the brand wagon, right, the other day. I know you, so I was like, wow, this is very much like Heather's stuff. Like, what the heck is going on? And they're like, no, it was this and it was that. And I'm like, okay. And then half of my friends who are not in the entrepreneurial world, they're like retired or they work in corporate or whatever. They're like, I don't understand what you're talking about. And I'm like, because you're not in the industry, right? You don't get what branding is. It's like,
Right.
the intent for branding for most people is like, oh, McDonald's and Coca-Cola, like the biggest ones out there, right?
Right. Yeah. And it's unlocking those main characters. Most of us don't know about the main characters that actually live within. This is my magic, is pulling out the main character, the main story, the deeper parts of you, and putting it in a form that everybody can understand, that they can relate with. Like Sarah's like bandwagon, bandwagon is what people are probably hearing in their head, right? But because she was using industry lingo, they just didn't understand. And we have to, depending on who we're talking to, right? That post wasn't meant for that audience at that moment. And they're there and they're still like, okay, I don't. But often that's what's happening, though, is that when we're speaking, we're not soul speaking. We're just speaking. And when you soul speak and you create a signature language that you can put out there, and I call it your signature language because that's what it needs to be. There needs to be a signature tone. There needs to be a signature language. And the industry doesn't teach that well. They don't teach you how to show up. They teach you how to write the story, or the framework that they call the story, the hero's journey. And the hero's journey is beautiful. It's a gorgeous way. Your story is your most powerful piece of how you can unmute the mic for your audiences and enter that main character story. It's figuring out what is that hero's journey. And if you need help with it, there are two beautiful souls right here who can help with that. For me, I have my brainstorm, and that has unlocked so many beautiful parts and pieces of people that they now bring to the screen so unapologetically, because it's also about that unapologetic energy behind taking the pen from other people's hands and putting it in your own and writing your story. Because there's someone out there, there's a woman out there. I wrote this in a post. There's a woman out there, a man out there who needs your story. They need your voice. They need the way that you share it. They need to hear it from your angle and your perspective, because you might be the one they see doing the thing that makes them choose main character energy, that makes them show up aligned, that makes them really step out in their power. But you're over here overthinking it and saying, it's not right, it's not perfect. Oh, scratch that, erase this, rip this up, throw it out. Like the whole creative process, which I'm sure Sarah understands in character development as an author. It's not about being a character at the end of the day. It's just about being you. Because you, just like Sarah found out that the main character of her story, who is very closely like Sarah, believe it or not, you are your niche. Can I challenge that perspective? That it's some other person? No, you, this beautiful soul right here, you are your niche. You are your ideal client. Your struggles, your thoughts, your beliefs, all of the good, the bad, the ugly, the personality, the playfulness, the scaredness, the audacity, the ambition, all of those parts, as our beautiful sister Brittany would say, all those parts of you are your ideal clients. And all those parts deserve a voice. Just like Sarah couldn't give Sabrina all of the voices of all of the characters, it wouldn't work. A good story has got to have multiple voices for multiple people to understand the bigger picture of what's going on, right? Oh, you're muted for some reason.
There I am. Okay, yeah. And that's why, you know, I never wrote in first person. I am, the fourth book that I'm writing right now, I'm writing in first person. But multiple point of views is what I like to write because it gives the reader a well-rounded view of the entire story.
Yeah.
And I got a bad review for multiple points of view for on Amazon. I was like, wait, what? I don't understand. And then of course, all my friends who, you know, are neurodivergent are like, no, I think it's great. Because if you're neurodivergent, you get it. There's multiple points of view. And I don't write like other romance authors where it's like, and this is where I'm not a copycat, right? Because I was tired of those one story, you know, disempowered female, overempowered male, or vice versa, right? And there is entertainment in some of those. If you like those, good on you. That's awesome, right? There's entertainment value in those. I personally am not entertained by them. That's why I wrote my own series, because I wanted the masculine and feminine balance to be there. I wanted to be masculine, feminine empowerment, both on both sides, and bringing Sabrina from a limited upbringing into something that scared her, into something that she didn't know what it was, into developing new skills and learning new things so that she can become this beautiful goddess that she is, right? And follow the story through the whole thing. I'm excited to publish a third book, although I don't know when that is, but because that's really when you see Sabrina in her full healer's energy power. And it's like, oh my gosh. But that's the thing. You as an entrepreneur have to go, well, you don't have to. You can skip all that if you want to. Quantum jumping, but you know, but as the character of your own story, you get to work through that, and you will see patterns that come up that are the same as the old ones. And this is what your conditioning makes you believe. Like Heather was like, well, why are you doing that? Because I thought I was past that part. You do need some good friends to call you out a little bit.
Right.
And it's, oh, that's why I'm filling out this form, because I'm going back to the way I think it should have been rather than doing it my way.
Right.
And there was a big breakthrough this week with that. And I was like, okay, I'm putting this away. This is not for me. It is not me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, Sarah, I think we've filled their ears with lots. Hey, let's share with them how they can work with you.
Okay. Well, yes. So like Heather was about the branding and bringing the true you out into your branding, calling up those parts of you that are brilliant. If you want to pinpoint those parts and figure out the shadow side or the gift side and how your niche relates to how you're cosmically designed, you can work with me. I have a website, has all my stuff, my books, my meditations, my program, like everything you could possibly want on sareinhart.com.
I love that.
Yeah.
And do you have any closing words for our audience on our topic today? Any parting wisdom?
Don't do it their way. Do it your way. You are the queen or king if you're a man.
Yes, you are the author.
Yes.
You are the main character.
Mm-hmm.
The main character energy comes when you stop letting everybody else write your book and you start to write it your way, in your voice, in your tone, in your style, in your brand. That's what I had to do. I had to turn the mic of everybody else down and mute the damn thing to really know my truth. And Sarah can tell you, she can attest for how hard that was for me to shut down all of the voices in my head. And for some reason, the main theme song of one of my favorite wrestlers is coming through my head because it's like all these voices in my head, they talk to me. You know, and that's true. We all have these voices within, these characters within, and Brittany's going to love this piece,
right?
The part within that are dying to speak. And yet we tend to mute so many of them because they don't fit in the niche or topic or label that we've been slapped with. And said we had to live there. Who said? Who made it law that said you had to be one niche?
Yeah.
That you had to be one category? Why is that even a thing? We are multifaceted, multidimensional humans. God created us to be multi-personalities. And each of our personalities are a different part of our story. They're a supporting line in the main theme. So drop the mic of other people and pick up the mic that's aligned for you. Stop being niched down and put into small places you weren't born for. You weren't designed for. God broke the mold when he made you. It's your decision to step into your calling. It's your decision to step into your destiny. It's your decision to follow the masses and do it the way that the bro marketer says, or to choose to be different, to be the rebel, to be unapologetic and live your truth loud. Because that's what I want to see for my friends. And that's what I encourage my friends to do every single day. Live your truth loud. Live it unapologetically. And unmute the mic so you can unmute your magic and show up. Because we're all waiting for you. And I can't think of a better way to end our episode than with that. So, Sarah, thank you so much for coming to hang out with me today.
Thank you.
Everyone else, we hope you have a blessed day. Sarah can drop her info in the comments for you. And if you are catching this on replay, I should have probably said this in the beginning. If you are catching this on the replay, we're so glad you were here. The replay will also be available on YouTube because, you know, Facebook decided they're going to delete replays after 30 days. So we're going to put it over on YouTube so it can live and exist when you're ready to come hang out with us. And we love you guys so big, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.